Yeah. So, hey, we have Tessa today from the Broom Closet. Hello.
Hello.
So, the Broom Closet, why that?
hmm Honestly, I was just looking for a way to I do a lot of I've been doing a lot of tarot, and I was looking for a way to not put it all on my personal page,
Mhm.
because I feel like I was just filling up my personal page with a million things of tarot, and I was just like, honestly, we can direct this to its own thing. And then I kind of was just brainstorming, and I was like, what would be just something kind of cute, I guess, and just a little witchy ode to being in the broom closet, kind of coming out your broom closet vibe,
Yeah.
and I was like, that'd just be cute. And then I kind of just focused all my energy at first on that with tarot, and then I made a lot of different products, or I'll do readings and whatnot. And I it's for me, really, a lot of it is more of a creative outlet.
Mhm.
I do enjoy the tarot. I enjoy giving my clients readings, but a lot of it is I enjoy writing too. So a lot of the either tarot or readings or things that come up, I get to write. So that's kind of what I really enjoy about that. And that's kind of how it came about, because I was just oh, let me just stop running my mouth on my regular person Instagram, and have a place where if people are interested in this, it's for them more than just everybody in my family and everybody I know being like, "What the hell are you writing on
Yeah,
here?"
you get that call from that one cousin that's like, are you a devil worshiper?"
Yeah, and and it's funny because every a lot of the women in my family do craft, witchcraft, or like my mom's very straiga, Catholic witchcraft, saints and whatnot. And then a lot of my cousins are very into spirituality, and a lot. It's funny because a lot of the women in my family do practice odd forms of craft, and it's interesting to see it, because it was always kind of normal. My mom always had tarot cards. We always had crystals. I didn't really understand them, or we when we were born, all of our astrology charts were done. So it's I don't know, it's a very normal thing to me and my
Yeah.
family to be that way. But of course, you have people that are tarot cards are the devil, and your super Catholic family members that. But
Yeah.
it's weird though, because people, I think it's just because of heritage, or on that side, it's a lot of Italian people in my family, and they've always kind of had weird witchcrafty superstitions, believing
Yeah.
someone can look at you and give
It's
you
like,
bad luck,
yeah.
the
Yeah,
salt
every
over
family.
the shoulder,
Yeah.
no shoes on the table, birds are bad luck. It's very these people want, maybe they're Roman Catholic or old world, but it sounds to me very superstitious, and almost, I don't
Yeah.
know, it aligns a lot. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I did. I just kind of made a little space for that. And then my members of family that follow it, they are into it. But other people are just yeah, Tess is a weirdo. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I feel like it's also just a good business move because your family is not your clientele or
Of course, of course.
yeah. But also I have to ask, since I have children in my life, like how did your mom kind of introduce you to tarot? Like how did she first explain it, if you can remember? And how old?
We always had used playing cards. In my family, my even my grandmother, we would always play different cards, actual cards, play Go Fish, or solitaire and stuff. And I know that is obviously, that's really where tarot comes from,
Mhm.
because I mean, that's how it was disguised, or how it was initially used, not with pictures. It was all suits and cards and stuff. So we always played cards, so that was never really weird. But my mom always had tarot cards. She had the Rider Waite deck, and she
Mhm.
just always had it on the coffee table, or in the kitchen, and we would always play with it, or when we could read, we would read the inserts and stuff. And I just remember she always told us that magic is real. She's one of those people. My mom's really interesting. She teaches yoga. She's very she's, you know what I mean? She's one of those. And but she always kind of just instilled in us that magic is real. She wasn't your little witches, you know what I mean? But she would just show us things, and you light candles for people when they pass, or just things that seem very natural and normal, but they're definitely not. I mean, I guess for everybody in different families, but for me, it was just kind of normal. So, she told us she had everybody's astrology chart done when we were born. So we would go and we would look in the book at what it said.
Mhm.
So it was more like, I guess, like educational and kind of just like, I don't, it's a very weird way to approach it, I guess, because I went to Catholic school too. So you have like this, I don't know, paradox of like religion, like real religion, and then like folk religion, but not on purpose. It's just kind of like culturally, you go to Catholic school because you're Italian or you're Roman Catholic or you're Irish Catholic, is
Mhm.
whatever they refer to themselves as now. So it's like, I think it's just because we also believed in God and stuff, and we did have a strong idea of religion. I don't think it was that hard to like incorporate the two, especially when you're a child and like it's not, you're not so like, everything's not so black and white to you. Like it's kind of like there's like everything's like a gray area until you learn more about it.
Mhm.
So like I think it's that too. I think like having a basis of knowing what religion is and then seeing like other things that seemed maybe ritualistic or religious. Because if you go to a church and you go to a procession, it's super ritualistic. Like they're, you literally put a piece of bread in your mouth that they're saying is Jesus. You know what I mean? You're drinking out of a cup
The
and it's
blood.
blood. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very ritualistic. So I just think that they both seem so far away from each other because it's like this weird, like, is it devil worship? You have tarot cards, like, are inanimate objects devils? I don't know. Like, and then you get into that sort of thing. But I think it's more alike than people care to realize.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
they're
do.
walking around with incense.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you start thinking to yourself, like, okay, like, this is all very. I have a really good book, though, that kind of blends those two things, and it's called Italian Witchcraft, and it's by Grimassi, I believe. And if you look that up, it does touch on like Catholicism and witchcraft and why like people, especially like in Italy or in certain parts of the world, it's always been there, like traditions just passed down, but like then hidden in other things kind of. So that's what, yeah, back to your question, maybe like go so far left, but like that's basically it, because we were religiously like kind of like inapt. We knew it wasn't that crazy to like believe that like they're like, because we knew when people died they either went to heaven or their spirit went somewhere. Like my mom's the type of person that will like see a dragonfly and say it's somebody who's passed. Like she's always been like that. Or you pass a feather and you're like, oh, I have angels. Like, you know what I mean? So it's, I think it's how you, more how you like naturally approach it when you deal with children. That
Yeah. I guess.
makes sense.
Am I back? Did I go black?
Yeah.
Am I back though?
Yeah. You're
I,
back.
yeah. Sorry. I
You
had a
know what
phone.
I mean? Like it's more like a natural thing. I think like if they see you doing stuff and they're interested, they'll kind of be open to like want to know. And like I don't know, I think like even certain things like tarot cards, people have whatever conceptions about them and stuff, but it's like it's a divination tool, but it's also fun and it's also like a good way to like learn things and memorize things. And it, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, people should take it seriously if they're doing it in divination work. But I don't think there's anything wrong with like, the kids want to shuffle the cards and like pull their card. And like, I don't think it's harm in that. I think it's like anything else. It's like playing Uno
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that point. If there's no big like spiritual attachment to it, it's not.
That's true. Yeah. It's all
Yeah,
your level of like belief in it and how much you really like
exactly.
take it super serious. I
Exactly.
For me, it's a little more complicated because they aren't my biological children,
Of
so
course.
I can't
Yeah, you
necessarily
don't want
like.
to be pressing.
Yeah, yeah, but I definitely do encourage them to like read the Bible and just learn
Hmm.
basic knowledge of God.
Yeah.
Uh, but I know last time we talked, you said that you are neo-pagan. So like, what
Hmm.
exactly does that mean?
So basically, it's just like it's paganism. It's an interesting thing to say because it's such a derogatory term
Yeah,
because of it was just
especially if
made.
you're Catholic. If you're Catholic, they're like they stole our
But it was,
tradition.
yeah, and it was also, the term itself is like just means like stupid, like people that don't know anything.
Mm.
And it's, so the term, I guess, you wouldn't even, I want to, I guess, use that. The more I think about it, you don't want to be called like something your enemy called you.
But it's
That's a
also
Greek
it might
word.
be taking it and turning
It
it into
is. It could be
power.
like them taking the power
Yeah.
back, but it's interesting. So basically, I just believe in old world gods. Like I believe in one central god, and it's a male. Whether that is because I identify with some stuff that I've maybe learned, or I just think men are leaders. I just think that in a society, not that women have their place as well, but I just think people even don't realize what the etymology of the word Lord, when you say Lord, it just means man who owns or man with ownership. So it kind of goes back to like language, I guess. I would probably, I do believe in one central male god, but I also believe in a pantheon of gods because I just, and it's not even, it's hard to explain because if it's in a literal sense, it's difficult to attach, you attach more like energies or like different levels of like things. If you would like work with different deities, if you want to invoke different things, like if you want to invoke your beauty, you'd work with a goddess of love or beauty, or it's very similar to saint worship as well. So it's kind of, it's kind of not crazy to me to, think that you'd pull strength from a saint or you'd pull strength from a god or goddess. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of, but in what I believe, there is one central male god,
Mhm.
but it's just the oldest and wisest of the gods, if
Do
that
you
makes any
ever
sense.
feel like no, it definitely does. Has a great explanation of that. Do you ever feel like when you're communicating with these other deities, like do you ever feel like I don't know, just like a negative energy ever?
No, because it's more like you call on them. So unless you were calling on maybe a darker entity, like, and you do dark worship and dark work, I don't think that it would, it's more like, it's more something like you do to like hype yourself up or like for strength or for like, to like maybe feel more beautiful or it, because I know what you mean, like about entities. And like when you open yourself up to things, you definitely open yourself up to a magnitude.
Mhm,
But I think because it's more focused on the actual like adjective associated with them, like if you want to call on the god Tyr, the god that which rules Tuesday, it's a god of courage. You would, it's more like you trying to ask for the courage from that god. So I don't, it's the communications aren't like spirit like. It's very interesting. Like you may hear things in meditation or like you may like, things in your head, not like voices, but it's more you have to be open to communicating with these deities. And it's not like praying really. It's more like sacrifice based on things that you're willing to do. Like not like, give up, like not like go starve yourself or like a famine or something, but more like, if you're like, I need strength, but it's like I'm gonna push myself out of my comfort zone. It's more like to make a promise,
mhm.
and like you just use different deities with different attributes in that way to
So
kind of more like solidify your intention to whatever it is that you're trying to. Like if I want to be a better partner or lover, or like I'll call on a female deity that deals with that stuff. If I feel like I need wisdom, I'll call on the old god because that is what is representative to that. Like if that makes any sense. I don't know.
yeah, so it's
You
kind
know
of
what I mean?
uh,
Like
it's a more specific focus than praying to like the overall God. So
yep.
you want somebody who's like more specific in the area.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
intention is like more bullseye focus, which is like, of course, like you could just play to the old god for everything and he can do everything and he can, give you the strength. But it sometimes helps to put the intention into place
Mhm.
by using, but also people, I mean, I guess it's relative to what people believe because it's interesting across almost all mythology and all pantheons of whatever people like ancient Romans, Greece, Norse, Saxon gods. It's very interesting when you notice that there are all the same exact like attributes
Mhm.
that you
Just
have. Yeah, everyone, like there's an Athena, there's a Venus, and then there's Freya. You know what I mean? It's all the
yeah.
same thing.
And
So
it's
it's interesting for that.
yeah, and even if you take it to a more like religious kind of route, a lot of the angels are the same way. Like there's
Yep.
angels of abundance, angels of
Yep.
the
The
saints of
Archangel
the
Michael. Yep. Well, I
mhm.
wear the Archangel Michael actually every day, and he's crushing Satan there. And it says on the back, "Give us strength and protect us from all danger." And I wear that every day because,
Yeah.
like, that's what I mean. Like, that's exactly like you're calling on a certain. That's the same thing with the saints. It's a joke, like when you're Italian American, but people are like, oh, you lost your bracelet, like call St. Anthony, he's the finder of lost things. So you're like running around the house like, St. Anthony, where's the bracelet? Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's the same. It's so funny how it's the same things though, like when you really kind of like examine it from like an outside point of view. And I think you have to, like, I don't say this being like rude, I just think that people should really have a better understanding of almost everything, like every religion, before they choose, because or before they decide what fits them, or because education on things is important. And I think a lot of people, especially with the internet, people cling on to things, or like on all sides, like there's a very weird like pagan movement, there's a very fucking weird like religious movement, extremism on every side. And it's, I think that people should be very like well versed maybe in history, or at least in religion, before they kind of like take on some like weird religious persona, because that can also be how people attach like evil deities to
Yeah.
themselves, or evil entities to themselves, by not really understanding what
Mhm.
they're invoking. That's a very, like, I know a lot of people online, they're like, oh, we pray to Hecate or Hecate, and I'm just like, you have to understand what, not that that's bad or that it's good, but like people need to really understand the deities that they're inviting into their lives,
Yeah.
like, and like
The
because
fine
you could use it both ways. But when you said that, like, have you ever felt like icky energy? I haven't. I know people that have.
Mhm.
I know people that have like kind of dabbled in things maybe they shouldn't have,
Mhm.
and like maybe had a spirit entity, whatever the fuck energy you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, it's never happened to me, but like I definitely know that that exists. So I think that's something people should be cautious of when they are working with whatever they're working with.
Mhm. Yeah, like, be very careful, read all the fine print.
Understand, like, honestly, have an understanding of things. Like, I even see a lot of like this, like, no shade to these people, but there's a lot of like stuff online, like that. They're just like, it's just straight bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like, like certain things do work energetically, you put your intention in, they do. And in some of it, it's more like harmful than good. Like I'll see, like, the people in there offering, like, they'll do voodoo on your ex-boyfriend, you know what I mean? Like, not the, not the best shit,
Yeah.
even
That's
if it's a scam.
fair. Yeah, that's why I make it very clear, like, I just work with God, like, if you're cool with
That's
God,
it.
we're chilling. But yeah, it is funny how you kinda bring up it. Overall, every religion is very similar at its core, and
Hmm.
details. But I also feel like it's upsetting to me when you have the understanding, they're like, "Oh, well, if you're Hindu, you're going to hell, or if you're this, you're going to hell." It's like, it's kind of, as long as you're not killing people, doing horrible, awful things. I mean, I don't think God really cares if you call him God
No,
or the earth
I
or
don't. I'm on the same page. I think that it's people and their need for control that really fucking usher in this like dystopian like religion situation, because if they aren't all right, then they're all wrong, right?
Mhm.
So what does it mean? What does that mean then? Like, if they're all wrong, then they can't all be right, and if they're all right, they can't all be wrong. So which one, like, it's like, and especially like with what's going on in the world now, it's very interesting to see it play out, because people relatively believe the same things. They believe that they, like, especially with the current situation, people believe they have the right to the same land, and both books tell them they do. What do you believe? Like, who wins? You know what I mean? It's you can't hold a microscope up to other people's beliefs, because it just,
Like, whatever happened to that song, like, "This land is my land, this land is your
from
land."
California to
Yeah.
the, I don't know, the New York Islands, I think it says. Oh, I love that.
Don't ask me. But it's like, it's literally, it's God's land, okay? We're only here for a short amount of time. And I think it also comes from ego. It's like, no, my religion is right. Your religion is wrong. Like, everybody
But if
has to.
you understand religion, you have to come from like a relatively logical place, and say they can't all be fucking right, so they can't all be wrong. You have to just leave it at that. Like, I just, like, even certain things, like, I can't believe people believe, but like, who the fuck am I
Yeah.
to tell them? Like, I'm like a very like logical person. Sometimes I'm like, how the fuck do you believe that? But I'm like, you know what, they do.
But I feel like we're
People,
also
I
both.
believe in fucking fairies. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, you know what I mean? People would say, who's this bitch? Like,
Yeah.
online. Like, who are you? Like, you're what? You're pulling cards out of a deck and talking to like possible dead people? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, so it's really a judgmental thing, I think, and it's a control thing, and it's one of those things that is very emotionally oriented, so it revs people the fuck up.
Mhm.
You
Like,
see that, like they touch on points like that,
mhm.
your religion, like your race, your sex, your, you know what I mean, whatever you identify, like people get revved up, and these are like key points. These are the emotional points that, like, if they were pressure points on your body, this would be exactly what would get people like in a tizzy.
Yeah, and I
In
feel like
here,
we're all
they are the whole world's in a fucking tizzy.
yeah, that's I feel like, we're not all supposed to believe the same thing, speak the same language, but the moral of every religion is basically love your neighbor as you love yourself. Unless you're satanic or whatever, but love your neighbor as yourself.
And even that, like, I've read some of that literature, very odd. Mostly what I got out of it, no, what I got out of it, it was I read it like just say under I didn't understand what these people believed.
Yeah.
These people are just narcissists and they're extremely selfish.
Yeah.
That's what it says in the Satanic
Yeah,
Bible.
that's what I
You
mean.
do
So,
whatever the fuck it is you have to do to get whatever the fuck it is you want. It's
mhm.
obviously inherently evil. But when I read it, I was like, oh my God, these people are just fucking narcissists. These people are crazy. Like, use people, do whatever you want. Like kill people, do like literally do whatever you want to get whatever you want, which is obviously horrible and
Yeah.
evil and insane. But I read it till I was like, what the fuck do these people believe?
Mhm.
Because like I heard things about what they believed, and I know a lot about what the evil. There's a lot eviler things than Satanists that go way deeper and way older. Because it's not Satan, it's before Satan. You know,
Oh,
there's
dang.
the deities before Satan that came. Satan just fell from an angel, as you know, he was one of God's angels.
Yeah.
But there's older, more evil. One of them's name is Moloch. Look it up. Don't I'm looking into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's old, like, Babylonian gods. I'm just saying, like, before the time of Christ, or before the religious movements that exist like today, there was an evil that represented the same thing. But the Satanists, it's not really that which they believe. I think it's they're like extremely selfish, narcissist psychos. And like some of them probably do like kill people and animals and everything else. But I
I
think a lot of it is just
like
extreme
yeah.
selfishness.
But I feel like that's like the like low level Satanists. They're
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, "Oh, I can do whatever I want." But then I feel like there are those people that are like, "I'm gonna go kill my dog."
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh,
like
yeah. And those people,
whatever.
that's not for Satan. That's, like I said, that's for the old one.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing too is like, I was kind of joking before about Catholicism saying, "Oh, the pagans stole our traditions." But the pagans did come first. So it is kind of interesting like what if these are just like the new version? It's kind of like if I took an old 80s movie and I changed all the characters' names, but
Hmm.
it's
Oh, no. Well, most definitely, just because of timelines in archaeology, like before Christ, or um they recently found, I'm gonna like butcher this when I say it. It was in Turkey. They found Galepe Teki, is Tepe, maybe it's what how you pronounce it. It was a civilization that's 20,000 years older than they believe that we even existed, and it's like a functioning civilization with a religion and
yeah.
whatever. That's neither here nor there, but just so much time, like humans and human ingenuity, and us being able to articulate things, us being able to pray, or talk, or it's so much older than archaeology previously has stated, and there's a lot of conflict within that world where like people don't like to admit that people were wrong before, so it's a very like, but there are like a lot of archaeological examples of like old world worship and things that are just like unexplainable today.
Mhm.
Like, for example, they found there's a cauldron that they found, I believe it's in Sweden, don't quote me, and it has like a picture of this horned god, which was someone that the Celtic people prayed to. It was a deer, basically. That's who. Then the Romans have in the or the Greeks rather have Pan, the god of
Yeah.
mischief, and he is the horned god.
Mhm.
So the association of like the horns and like evil, it's just, it goes back so much further even than Christianity or Catholicism or like the Quran or the Torah. So there's, as long as there's been good, there's been evil,
Yeah.
is what I believe. So I just believe that it doesn't matter what you call it, it exists. the good and the evil. So it's an interesting thing though, because people fight over which one it is. It doesn't really matter what you call him or them or it. You know what I mean? Like
But the fighting, like, that's what makes it evil to me. It's like, no matter what you end up believing, like, wrong is wrong, right? In whatever
the
religion.
Crusades are religious war. It's a fucking anomaly. It's a hypocritical statement. You can't eat a religious war. Let's just unpack that. Makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and
Nobody, like, even like with extremism in certain religions, people think they're gonna do even down to, you know, a good example, and it's not religion, but it has to do with honor, is in World War II, the Japanese people were kamikazes. They were suicide soldiers. They would die for what they believed in. The fuck? It's like kind of the same thing, but it's not religion. It just shows like with enough control, enough extreme brainwashing, people become kind of like mindless zombies. Like it's great to like believe in stuff, but it's not like if it's gonna hurt people or if it, you know what I mean? Like that's wild.
yeah,
Like
I
to
know.
think that you're doing something in the name of what? Your God? That's fucked. To anybody with like a heart, that's fucked. And like I don't know how you could justify that. Like on either side or anybody, anything that people do. And that's another thing. That's why I always bring up like history and education is like when you look back, everything that happens right now has always happened and it will always happen.
That's why I don't stress anymore. I'm like, you know what?
Can't.
There's downs, shit sucks, and it's better. Like,
The climate change, God forgive me. I mean, we had 3 ice ages. I mean, I don't know. We're due for another one in a few million years. I'm just saying, like the things that go on, life goes on.
yeah.
That's really, I mean, and it really does. Like
And I
all the
think
evil and everything else.
yeah, and I feel like like idea or the tradition that they want to pass down is that life isn't that strong and that it's not important or that, it's all about me, right? It's like kind of this like satanic idea. And that's where I feel like people kind of start giving up. They're like, I don't want to have kids because the world is doomed, or
Hmm.
I don't want to.
The black pill, they call it.
Yeah, the black pill. And I feel like that's a lot of people have taken the black pill and they're like, the world is done, we're screwed, that's it.
How
You know,
could you, like, I physically couldn't believe that because I wouldn't get up in the
exactly.
morning. I'm just saying, like, I physically couldn't even convince myself that because I really would like end up like, I don't know what would happen. And then what, it doesn't happen?
And I guess you just keep waiting if you're
The
already.
fuck are you? Yeah, yeah, great. Like now I'm homeless because I
Yeah,
didn't want to go to work because I thought it was over. Like,
yeah.
let's just keep going. Like, that's, I mean,
But my
till the
thing,
wheels fall off.
let's say you and I both knew, right? Let's say we know without a doubt, like, what's the day? In 2 days, the world is gonna end. I mean, I'm gonna have a good time. Like, fuck that worrying shit. I'm not gonna worry and then just die. Like, that was
None
my.
of it, none of it matters. Like at that point, I mean, what the fuck does it
Yeah,
matter? And
yeah,
that's the thing I think people, not that you should just go and like it's like the fucking purge, but like
yeah.
I mean, live a real, it's like the lifestyle that you want to be. You know what I mean? I mean that's it.
Honestly, like in real life, though, I feel like if I knew the world was ending in 2 days, I probably would sleep in a church, dude. I'd be so much in the church. Like, honestly, that's just
You
how I.
just be in the church.
Yeah, I would sleep in the church. I'd be
I would
like,
just be outside. I'd literally go into the woods and I'd just sit there and I'd be like, "This is it. When whatever happens, I'm gonna seep into the fucking moss and go back to meet the maker, and
yeah.
that's it."
I feel like
That's
for
kind of like my idea of it. I don't care. Take me back in there.
me, I just feel like for me, it depends on how the world is ending. Like, if
Oh
it's
yeah, of
a storm,
course.
a weird storm, I would do what you're doing. But if it's like, oh, God's gonna literally play a trumpet, and some of us are, I'd be like,
Are
hallelujah.
we going? Are we? Everybody has their phones out.
Oh my God, it'd be the last. I or no, if they
He's
still
like,
have internet in heaven, they're like, yo, homie JC.
yeah, no, and like because of that, God's like, cut him off.
Yeah.
He's a prick.
um,
Get him out of here.
so my phone battery's at 10%.
Yep.
Put it off here and I'll text you. Okay. Well, we might continue this.
Yeah, that's good. Sounds good to me.
All right.
I got this shit plugged